My name is Amy Anistic-Bardis. I am 63 years old. This interview with my late Aunt Margaret Pasztor-Fest, 1916 to 2012, was conducted in Toledo, Ohio in September of 2012 by my 54-year-old second cousin, Retha Holtfretter Harrison, Margaret's oldest grandchild.
Tell me about this kid.
That's Billy. That's my cousin Billy.
Now, how old was he compared to you?
Oh, Bill, Aunt Elizabeth, his mother was kidnapped, yeah, in the early 29. When that happened, I think I was about 13, no, probably 10.
Okay, so Aunt Elizabeth is the one that was killed.
Yeah.
Or came up missing, right?
Yeah.
And how did that happen?
I don't know all the ins and outs.
Well, just give me what you know.
What I know is that there was some problems with Manuel, and he lived in Monroe, Michigan.
Yeah, Manuel.
His name was Emmanuel Buckley Mental. Real Italian.
Mental?
That's the only way I know how to say it.
Emmanuel Buckley?
Buckley Mental.
Buckley Mental, like one word?
Yeah. I don't know how to spell it.
Okay. Emmanuel came up missing.
And
lived in Michigan.
I don't know if she ran away and went back to Grandma. I don't know that. All I know, there was some kind of problem, and I think she escaped because he wasn't going to allow her to leave because she knew too much of his business.
And his business was?
He was a bootlegger, and I don't know what else. Bootleggers and...
Right? You're thinking maybe the mob, huh?
He was in with Uncle John somehow. That's
Sure.
how... See, he was... Uncle John, he was over at my Aunt Vic's house. That's how Elizabeth met him.
What was your Uncle John doing?
Same thing.
Bootlegging?
Bootlegging, yeah. They were both bootleggers.
So where were they bootlegging at?
He was somebody famous in Monroe.
Or your Uncle John?
Emmanuel guy.
Oh, that's Emmanuel
Billy's
guy.
dad.
Tell me the story about the last time you saw your Uncle John.
Oh, that poor guy.
And Aunt Vic's story.
No, I don't remember what month this was.
Right.
Was it June or July or August? Oh, I don't know.
Summer.
I don't have papers. And I was over to Aunt Vic's house that day. And it was in the morning. And I remember, it just seems to me that I walked down to the beach with Aunt Vic and Uncle John, because I can remember her telling him, I wish you didn't go. She said, that lake is awful rough.
Yeah.
And he just said, oh, I'll make it. He nonchalant. He had a beautiful speedboat, that should do. It was one of those kind of boats that did everything, you know.
Right.
And then after that, I got busy, you know, with the kids. And he left. And he picked up all of these big shots in Toledo.
Yeah, so who were those,
I
do you
don't know.
think? Wasn't it, didn't I hear, and I'm not sure, I'll have to look into it, was the mayor of Toledo on
Yeah.
that boat?
Yeah.
There was a bunch of guys, huh? Like
Yeah.
5 or 6 guys.
Big shots.
Toledo big shots.
Yeah.
And what did he do?
And Uncle John had a young man. He was a Polish guy. He was very young. He helped Uncle John do things.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can remember, his last name was Liptok.
Liptok?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I've heard that name, you know,
Yeah.
a number of times.
Sure.
But that's what I remember. And Uncle and Aunt Elizabeth and Emmanuel married, and she moved to Monroe and she was living with his parents.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I don't know what kind of problem there was in Monroe.
Sure.
And
Was that Emmanuel guy on the boat with them when they took off?
no, he'd have been dead.
Right. This
Yeah.
was after the boat thing? After Uncle John? Or before?
All this happened before Uncle John.
Okay. So he was already out of the picture. So Uncle John decides to go for a run, picks up a bunch of guys from Toledo.
They were going to Canada somewhere, or one of the islands. If Grandpa would be here, he
Kelly's.
could rattle off the islands.
Sure, Kelly's or
And nobody
Not
could
Kelly.
figure out.
Pele.
Nobody could figure out why they all drowned. And
So what happened? They were going to pick up booze somewhere.
they were going to celebrate something, you know. They were all the big shots in Toledo.
Right. And then so what happened after something happened on the lake? No one knows what.
That's right. Nobody knows. They might have hit a log and went up like that. you
Sure.
know.
And when Lake Erie
Nobody
gets
had
drunk-
on a life preserver.
Right. Right. So then what happened? Aunt Vic was waiting for him to come home?
Well, everybody, we couldn't get. They had to come up, you know.
So they just never came home.
Uncle John, they found his body, and they found the speedboat.
Really?
Yeah, and it was empty of gas because
Yeah.
it was in the lake.
Right. Well, they just go around in circles till they run out of gas,
Yeah.
generally.
Uh-huh.
And then bodies just started washing up on the
Yeah.
beach.
Mhm. Yeah. All of them.
All of them came back, but they weren't alive. That's how you know Emmanuel wasn't there,
No.
because he wasn't included.
I
in
don't know
the-
where he was, you know.
Yeah.
But
So wow. So then what did Aunt Vic do?
what did you say?
What did Aunt Vic do
She went
when
to
she
pieces.
found all this stuff out?
Oh my God, my poor Aunt Vic, and I was there. She just cried and cried, and in the afternoon she'd go out and in front of the house, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She'd go out there and lay on that grass and cry and cry, and you know, I used to stand and watch her, and I thought, boy, I felt so sorry for her.
That's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
How many kids did she have?
6.
So he left, and she didn't have a job.
Well, no, he was bringing
He
in
was
good money.
bringing in the dough,
Yeah.
playing around on the lake,
She didn't have nothing.
and 6 kids.
Mm-hmm.
My gosh. So you said that you were close with Marie.
Well, that was the young lady. She wasn't, she was a little bit mentally retarded, you know,
Uh-huh.
but she was a good worker,
Sure.
and she was kind to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the oldest daughter, Dorothy, she used to abuse this lady, and I used to
Aw.
scream at her,
Aw.
you know.
Yeah.
Whenever I saw Dorothy do something wrong, because I think I'm about 2.5 years older than Dorothy was.
Right.
But Dorothy was a spoiled little brat, you know.
Yeah.
Or she just lorded herself over all the other kids.
Right.
And
Was Marie there to take care of, to help Aunt Vic take care of all the kids?
Mm-hmm.
And you and Marie were helping her, right?
yeah, oh yeah, we were there all the time because she couldn't do anything. And then there's people coming and, you know, condolence and all that.
Yeah.
And I don't remember just how everything turned out because in the winter I had to go home to live.
You had to go back to your
Yeah.
dad's house and your
Yeah.
stepmom,
Mm-hmm.
the stepmom didn't like you much.
No, she was got to get rid of me all summer, but I had to come back and go to school.
So she would ship you off to Aunt Vic's house in the summers,
Yeah.
and then you'd have to go back to her in the
Well,
winter.
I think that they got wind of the fact that my stepmother was abusing me a
Right.
lot.
Right.
So they decided to get me out of the house, and Aunt Vic was the one that I should be with because she had the children and she really
Needed the help.
somebody to take care of. I had the care of the little ones, 3 of them.
So you told me a story about Aunt Vic being, well, what did Aunt Vic do to make money then? There's one story.
She sold booze like her.
Where'd she get the booze?
She had all these Emmanuel and them get the booze and she'd buy it, stash it up in that old garage. And then when somebody needed booze, case of booze, you know,
Right.
whiskey,
Yeah.
Marie and I would go over there in the wagon
Yeah.
around 1, 2 o'clock. She'd wake us up.
Oh my gosh. At night? She
Because
woke you up?
That's when the people came to get it.
Oh, yeah, because they didn't want anyone to see, huh?
Yeah. Marie would go up into that attic and then I'd help her down with it because she was afraid to go that far by herself.
Well, how old were you running booze for Aunt Vic?
Oh, hell, I must have been about 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
carting your little wagon full of booze all over the neighborhood.
I don't know, that dark, you know.
Right by the church too, because you lived right behind the church.
I don't know.
Oh no, that wasn't in the same neighborhood.
And it was dark and I think we had to walk, I think it was about 3 lots away because it was a dilapidated garage. Nobody ever bothered with it.
Sure.
But I don't know if people knew about it, you know.
You should take a sip if you want to sip.
And it was really, when I tell people what I used to do.
Oh no, I think that's great. I mean, you know, she found a way to make money to support her
Yeah,
family. What was
yeah.
going to happen to all of them if she didn't?
Yeah,
No wonder she was upset. I would be too.
yeah, but he was a good guy, you know, but he
Sure.
was into all this illegal stuff.
Yeah. Well, back then there was money to be made off of it. What's the story about? You said the guy came to the door one day?
Oh, that wasn't a guy, that was a patrol or whatever he was. What are these?
G-Man.
He had a uniform on.
He was looking for...
Yeah, this was in the summertime. I was in the house. Some of the bigger kids were outside. The little ones were taking a nap. And I was sitting on a couch. I don't know why I was doing something. And then he just walks right in. He was a policeman. He had a uniform on. And it wasn't blue, it was brown. It was tan, you know, had all these shiny things on. Maybe it was just a costume for all I know.
Yeah.
He come in, he looked at me and kept going. And he went into the hallway. He went into the kids' room. Thank God he didn't wake them up. He looked in the bathroom, because I stood up, and, you know, and I could see just about what he was doing. He went into Aunt Vic's bedroom. I could hear him open the closet, shove things around, open drawers, and I don't know what else he did because I didn't hear everything. He come out, he went upstairs where the kids all slept. He shoved things around up there, but there was nothing up. She never kept anything in the house.
Right.
You know. And he went in the kitchen, he went down to the basement, and I could hear him moving things around. And he came up and marched right through the dining room there, and away he went. And Marie was scared.
I would have been too.
And when Aunt Vic come home, we told her about it, you know.
Sure.
She said, "You didn't say anything." I said, "I was so scared I didn't open my mouth."
So she thought he was.
Oh, and then he even went in the garage.
Oh, did he?
Because she had a double garage. Now those things I remember because I was older.
Sure. But she was hiding it from him for sure then. I just wonder.
But any kind of business she did was always at night.
Yeah. Well, that's how they worked
Of
out.
course, when I went to bed, I don't know the rest, you know.
Sure.
So,
Wow, that's crazy. So what did your stepmother do to you? What would she do to you when she didn't want you around in the summer?
well, when I was real young, she wasn't too bad because I was up 7 years old, between 7 and 8 when my mom died. And I think I was in the 3rd grade, I think, when Mom died.
Uh-huh.
Well, I did everything that she made me do, you
Sure.
know.
Yep. And then she'd... Go ahead.
And she used to cause problems for me. She used to call me names. And I used to sass her back. She'd grab my hair. And one time, I was much older. I don't know what it was all about, but she says, "You're just like your mother, the whore." And I wondered, does she know what a whore is? You know? Because she would have never said that.
It's just bad language.
And I told her, "I'm going to tell my father." She says, "You better not." She used to lock me in a coal bin.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's abuse now. You can't do that.
And when we were kids, Uncle Elmer, the 4 of us, we were never allowed up in the house. When we went to school, we lived in the basement. She would lock that door going up into the main house, and we never got up there until Dad came home.
Just before your dad came home, huh? And you weren't allowed to tell her?
That was when she'd go someplace, you know, she'd lock up the house and we had to stay in the basement. And it'd be so cold down there, you know.
Sure.
And I used to watch Dad how he made a fire in the furnace, you know. So I started doing things like he did.
Sure.
And
Makes
I
big.
had a good fire going. By the time Dad came home from work, it was nice and warm upstairs, but not too warm in the cellar.
No, because it goes up.
Yeah.
Where did she used to send you in the summer when she didn't want you around?
Well, in the summer, she got me up at 5 o'clock. I had to get dressed and eat something and get on this huge truck with all these other people. And we went to the field and worked. I worked on a sugar beet field with a little hoe, and you chopped away the babies, just let the big one grow.
Mm-hmm. Did you pick tomatoes too? She said
No,
you had
but
to
I
do that.
I picked berries.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And one time this friend of Mary, my friend, we were picking berries and we lost time. You know, we were picking berries. So when we went up to the farmer, he said, where were you kids at? And we had to pick baskets of berries for him. And that was about 6 o'clock in the evening.
Go ahead.
And that was about 6 o'clock in the evening. And he told us, you kids better hurry home. And we were somewhere around Seaman Road,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Because that was all farmland at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we walked down. When we come to Seaman Road, we start walking towards Consul's Road, you know.
Right.
And that's what we thought it was, because
Yeah.
we were lost. And I guess my father got pretty shook up, because we were walking, and pretty soon a car was coming in. It was my dad.
Gee whiz.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And I guess after that, I didn't go.
I wonder, yeah.
I was going to Aunt Vic's after that in the summer.
What about when you were working in Michigan in the field and you got they sent you up, they said that they took you up there in a truck and you had no way home.
No, Uncle Elmer at that time had his driver's license. And I don't know how it was, but she got a hold of a job for me, you know, being a maid and cleaning and helping with children, like a maid, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. She said, pack that bag. She gave me a little suitcase, and I put clothes in it, and we got in a car. And I know where I went now, because I learned everything later.
Sure.
We went to Lakeside, Michigan.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know where I was. We went into the house, and she introduced me to the lady, and I don't know too much about what happened later.
Right.
And Uncle Elmer and her got in the car, in the Ford, and they went away. And there I was. Never met that woman before in my life.
Oh my gosh.
4 little girls and an alcoholic husband.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, oh, he drank every blessed day.
Oh. And she stuck you there for the summer?
Yeah. And then I had one day off that was an afternoon. And I just can't remember when she said I could go home for a visit, that her husband would drive me to Erie to get on the bus. That's what he did. He drove me to Erie, and I sit on that bench and waited for a bus.
How old were you?
Oh, Lord, maybe I was about 15.
Uh-huh.
And I got on the bus, brought me to Toledo. I never recognized anything. I didn't even know it was Toledo.
Right.
So I got out and I was walking down the road and I saw a policeman. And I went up to him and I says, "How do I find Summit Street?" That's all I knew. So he said, "You just walk straight. And the last street is Summit Street. Then you go down a hill."
Right.
So, okay. And I recognized Titke's.
Yeah.
I stood in front of Titke's, and pretty soon the streetcar came, and I got on it, and I didn't even look at what the name. I could have been going all over.
Sure. You just jumped on it and it took you home, huh?
Yeah. I knew it was going to take me over, you know. And that's what I did, and I got home. But I remember how I got back there.
Oh, I'm sure she found a way to get you back.
I don't know
She
if
probably had Uncle Elmer take you again.
unless he did that, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well,
But
he had to do what she said too.
Oh, but being scared.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Well, and I remember what downtown was like when I was a kid. It was way different than it is
Oh,
now.
yeah.
And
Streetcars.
I wouldn't be right, and I wouldn't have been thrilled doing
But
it then or now.
You know, we never went downtown, you know. Whenever there was shopping, she went down and bought clothes for Nana and I. We wore clothes that women wore.
Right.
Oh, it was so embarrassing, you
Yeah,
know.
sure. Well, she was probably buying them on sale. She probably liked to do that. That's how she spent her time.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was embarrassing, you know, because a lot of my friends wore children's clothes.
Sure,
you know,
of course. And
regular-
they were cute.
Yeah.
Pinafores and
Yeah.
stuff.
These two, this was for Easter. And at that time, the movie stars and everything, they were wearing clothes cut on the bias, and it kind of hugs your body, you know. We had to wear a dress like that.
Oh, my.
And it got dirty, and we had to wash it and iron it and wear it.
Well, I'm certain you wouldn't have made a dress like that for me.
And
In
then,
fact, I know you didn't.
and then when I went to work for this lady, her name was, her maiden name was Faulbach.
Yeah.
You know, the doctor that worked with polio.
Uh-huh. Oh,
That
wow.
was her father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now her husband's dad run a bank on Summit Street, and I can't remember the name. No, it seems like I just want to say Gunco, but it wasn't that.
I'll be darned. Well, that's a familiar name in Toledo.
Yeah. And
Huh.
but he was drunk all the time. And see, I was with that lady for a couple years,
Sure.
and she's the one that wanted to adopt me.
Oh, okay.
She called Dad, you know. No, he wasn't going. And
I'm glad she didn't. You know?
I'd probably be somewhere else,
Right?
you know.
Yeah, and then stuck with an alcoholic stepdad and a bunch of little kids.
Yeah.
No.
But she told me, she says,
I don't know what's
Margaret,
worse.
she told me, Margaret, you should be in school, you know.
You should have been.
Yeah, but
Well, but, you know, remarkably, you were so resourceful that you were able to teach yourself other things. And
Yeah.
you're a whopping awesome cook
yeah,
and an awesome
Yeah.
seamstress. I mean,
I wanted to learn everything.
And you did. You were like a fabric engineer. Does that make sense? You could fabricate anything,
Yeah.
and that's what engineers do. They're fabricators.
I didn't stop. When I wanted to make something, I figured it out, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can look at something and I know exactly what I want to do. And sometimes it frightens me. Because why am I like that?
No, it's okay. That's why we're like that. We're the same way, and I'm blessed.
I just...
It makes me happy to think like that.
And
We're problem solvers.
I was fighting from the time I was born, you know.
Sure, sure.
After my mom died, my life went, and I had a fight to get up.
Well, but you did it.
Yeah.
That's where we get it from.
And then one time my stepmother, see, I was kind of going home on Thursdays. So I could be my sister.
Sure.
And one afternoon I walk in and she says, well, if you're going to eat over here, it's going to cost you $1. I says, why? She says, well, you got to pay. I didn't say anything. I just turned around and went over to Grandma's.
Yeah.
I says, Grandma, I'm going to have to eat something over here because she wants me to give her $1. Grandma was mad. Boy, she said words in Hungarian.
A whole bunch, huh? Gave it to her, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just I can't even visualize how she got away with that with all the women in our family. I just can't.
Well, see, everybody was afraid. The Adams, I don't think the Pastors and the Adams ever got along too good.
Okay.
And Dad fell in love with my mom. She was 16 years old.
Okay.
And he was about 7 or 8 years older than my mom.
Uh-huh.
And they weren't very friendly, you know.
Right.
And they got awful mad. The Adams didn't like it when my mom married and she had to move in the pastor house.
Because they all went to the same church, right? They were all going to the same.
Oh, yeah.
They lived about an inch away from each other
Yeah.
over on Majar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the Adams never tried to shake the tree, ever.
I see.
And then Aunt Ann was always the high and mighty, you know.
Sure.
She criticized the Adams, and me especially. When she got disgusted with me, she always called me the Adam fighter. That means the Adam kind. Adam fighter is in Hungarian.
Yep.
And in English, it's Adam kind. That I'm the Adam kind. Well, okay, I know I am. Because the Adam pastors, I've never seen them do anything but sit and get huge.